And then we did some research and realized that a lot of people remain in Montgomery County, which is why the tagline is, a community for a lifetime. But we want people to be able to stay in the county, and same with the whole DC metro region. It's unfortunate if people feel like they have to move out of the county because they can't afford to live there. But of course, we offer every age, right? This is really, really try to be inclusive. Next slide. And these are the areas of focus, and you'll see that, workforce is ours, but there are people involved in these different task forces in the county government addressing all of these things on the list. So these are topics that affect, seniors, especially keeping them connected, safety, wellness, that kind of thing. Next slide. And so ours, of course, is about employment and awareness, keeping people employed and making sure that there are opportunities for people who want to be employed. Next slide. And this just is a depiction of, there's a variety of people, and we'll get into these things in a minute on the slides. People come in all shapes and sizes and looks, and we know that we're a society that is very obsessed with appearances. Next slide. But some of the depictions that we see are kind of going against what we're trying to get out there and communicate, or that seems to be the stereotype that we see all the time. Here's some interesting facts. 78% of older workers say they have seen or experienced age discrimination in the workplace. And interestingly, most recently, it's the highest it's been. So it's not actually getting better, it's getting worse. But of course, the population is aging too. So there are more and more seniors. Next slide. And this is just interesting about these cases that come up. And one of them on here, you can keep clicking and more these age discrimination cases will come on. It was hard in the past, and it's getting a little better to prove age discrimination. And that goes both ways, both ends of the spectrum. The interesting thing, and Kathy has an interesting point about this, but PricewaterhouseCoopers had to pay a very large, settlement. And I was actually in the consulting field and know that at about age 40, they start just sending everybody out. I mean, they lay off swarms of people. And it is kind of a taxing, you're in an airplane, it's consulting, that's the lifestyle. I mean, but they have plenty of partners who are, of course, seniors. But it's interesting that these cases, even though they get a lot of bad press and in the news for things they might not want to be in the news for, they persist. So we still have to be very active, and AARP is a great mouthpiece for really trying to advocate on behalf of seniors. Next slide. And they are hard cases to win, though. But this is just a handful of, if you keep clicking, more and more of these will come on the screen. Well-known big name companies that have been sued for age discrimination. And our point is really not to harp on age discrimination suits necessarily. It's really more to promote intergenerational workplaces and why they're effective and why they're more productive. And case after case shows that businesses are more productive with a variety of ages. I mean, and just like any kind of diversity, the more diverse your workforce is, the more perspective you have, and the more marketable and appealing your services and products will be. Oh, next slide. And this is how I was talking about the depictions. And I don't know if you've heard of Respectability, but that's a pretty well-known disability support group. But they lobby a lot and work with Hollywood, for instance, on lots of movies. And you'll notice in the past couple of years, there have been a lot of TV shows that focus on people with disabilities. And that's because of them in large part, because they're trying to make sure this population is depicted in everyday life, because we're surrounded by people, and that's an area that you can fall into a disability any day of your life, just like it's guaranteed you're going to age. There's no getting around that. So it's, do we need to really keep harping on these greeting cards and advertisements and things that, portray, the 40 plus even as decrepit and frail and, all these kind of connotations? We're just trying to get away from that.